Hello, and welcome to this special episode. Today we're going to analyze biotech companies on the Nasdaq that have enough cash to survive at least until 2027 and that will be presenting meaningful data in the last quarter of 2025 or in the first half of 2026. Stay until the end because there will be lessons, clues, and maybe some interesting opportunities. Welcome to Taxi Biotech, a show to keep up with the latest news and updates from the world of biotechnology and to learn about its impact on the stock market. The stock data I present here is just a reflection of how companies or the clinical trials are progressing and does not constitute any investment recommendation. This is purely for entertainment. Over the last few weeks, many companies have been releasing their financial results, usually accompanied by recent scientific updates or by what they expect to present soon. I've compiled all the companies that published results in the first week, filtered them by those with cash runway until 2027, and this way we reduce the risk of a stock offering immediately after positive results. You know that risks never completely go away, but at least we try to mitigate it. In biotech, a stock offering can come at any time because these companies constantly need to finance research. I still need to do the same for the companies reported in the second week, so if you are interested, let me know. You know what to do. Let's start with Altimmune, and here you'll get a clear sample of how I analyze and think about these companies. The most important point is that they will present 48-week data for their MASH drug. What can we expect? If we look at the stock chart, we see a steep drop on June 27th, right when they reported the 24-week data. The stock was heavily punished, which gives us a clue. If the 24-week results went good, the 48 weeks results might not improve much either. So next, Cartesian. They have cash until 2027 and will present preliminary phase 2 data for lupus at the end of 2025. This same drug was already tested in myasthenia gravis. In July 2024, they reported positive results, meeting the primary endpoint. The drug was safe, with some mild headaches and fever that resolved within 24 hours, a very positive sign for the lupus trial. Right after releasing those results, what happened? Yeah, you're right. A stock offering 130 million at $20 per share, and the stock dropped 43%, falling close to that $20 valuation. That sets a negative precedent. Now they publish here final results at 12 months and the stock jumped 40% from the lows to the highs and then come back again. They release additional data but without statistical analysis. A Twitter user, every links in the comment below, mentioned that compared with other drugs might be competitive, but the sample size and timelines differ. So, in summary, they will get preliminary lupus data, and lupus and myasthenia gravis share inflammatory mechanisms, and this drug reduces inflammation. We know it's relatively safe, and since these are preliminary data, they will not present full statistics. And if results are not conclusive, they will likely say positive things in the press release. So I personally expect at least a positive press release. Then investors should check the data, if any is published. Next, Dyne Therapeutics. Dyne also has cash until 2027 and will present data in December for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. They previously present data on March 16th of this year, but actually they share no numbers at all. They only said that the improvement exceed what is considerably clinically meaningful for both 10 mg kilos and 20 mg kilos, and they said also that they observed about 9% protein expression, and they said that it was safe. The stock after that drop 50%. When a company gives zero numbers, confidence disappears. But they do have graphs showing here placebo in gray, 10 milligram kilos in green, and 20 milligram kilos in blue. And the graphs are separating over time, this suggesting an improvement. So this leaves me uncertain, because if the improvements truly was clinically meaningful, they should present data now. And the stock from here did recover very well afterward. So this implies strong positive movement. So I remain doubtful about this, and they can bring some positive surprise after the release of the data. Next, Crinetics. This was one of my picks of the quarter. I posted on Twitter, and we were right about the approval. The stock didn't climb as much as we expected, but about 30%, and we are in profit. Early next year, they will release data for their drug in congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Preliminary results suggest that all treated patients controlled the disease, and cortisol levels remained in the normal range. My personal view, I am keeping it in my portfolio until it appreciates further, or I find better opportunities. Next, Eton. They have a PDUFA date on February 25 for their desmopressin biosimilar. The bioequivalence graph they show is quite good. The stock has been range bound all year, and the company is valued under $500 million. Next, Denali has a PDUFA on April. It was originally set for January, but the FDA extended the date for reasons not related to efficacy or safety. Still, after their initial analysis, the stock fell 50% over the following months, around here. A Twitter user suggested they might need a confirmatory trial. Next, Rezolute. Rezolute will report data from 2 phase 3 trials in hyperinsulinemia. Results so far look strong, and the stock chart reflects that strength. Next, Lexeo. I already made a detailed breakdown on X. Links in the comment below for my opinion in Lexeo on Twitter. And is based on this information from November 2025 from the company. Okay, next, Upstream Bio. They've been public for a year, and they will present data in Q1 2026 for severe asthma. Recently, they released data from the same drug in chronic sinusitis, and the stock performed quite well, rising 25%. For asthma, they use the same molecule targeting the same receptor, and there is already in the market an approved drug targeting that receptor, generated about 1 billion annually. Upstream Bio, it's only 1.3 billion market cap, so you can do the math. Next, Spyre. They expect to launch 6 proof of concept studies in 2026 via their Skyline and Skyway trials. These are antibodies targeting TLA1A linked to rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. Early data showed the drug was safe and well tolerated and strongly lowers TL1 levels. So if they are going to launch 6 proof of concept and the first readouts focus on safety tolerability, they will likely be good. If you think that reducing TL1A leads to improvements in rheumatoid arthritis, then the mechanism of this drug makes sense. Next, RYTM will present phase 2 data for their obesity-related molecule in Prader-Willi syndrome. They also have a PDUFA on December 20 for the same molecule in hypothalamic obesity. They work on obesity tied to genetic deficiencies, following mechanisms different from Ozempic or Novo Nordisk drug. The molecule is developed specifically for these genetic or acquired conditions. Look, this spike here happened when they present results for the oral version of the same drug. And it worked. If it work in hypothalamic obesity, it likely works in Prader-Willi too. So, if the drug works, they are developing the oral version. They will present more data this year, and they have an upcoming PDUFA. Not much more to say here. Next, ACIU. They have a long list of milestones for late 2025, mostly small phase 1 steps, safety, biomarkers, preparing models for clinical trials, and some interim readouts. I don't expect spectacular results, but also no phase 3 disasters. The company has a low valuation, over 300 millions. Inmune Bio. They are set to present interesting updates, but honestly, reviewing their behavior, I don't like it at all. Let me explain. On June 26th, they announced that the following Monday they will release phase 2 Alzheimer's data. When a company announces data ahead, it usually signals confidence. Well, right after announcing that, they did a stock offering from institutional investors. And on Monday, they presented results that fail the primary endpoint. The stock crashed 75%. This doesn't inspire confidence at all. If they do that to institutional investors, imagine what they will do to retail. I understand perfectly that companies need to survive, but I prefer to invest with more trust. BridgeBio, they'll submit documentation for FDA approval of 2 drugs in the first half of 2026, and they will definitely do it. There is no hurdle here, just to write papers. And they will also present early 2026 phase 3 data for achondroplasia in children. Phase 2 was successful with strong statistics. The stock chart reflects solid long-term performance, and they have drugs in their pipeline that have been extremely important for society. So, kudos for them. And the last one, Novocure. They plan to file for FDA approval for brain metastasis and to present final phase 2 data for metastatic pancreatic cancer. They already released data in July, and they were positive, but the stock didn't move. Same as previous positive data, no reaction. Later, they published Q2 data results and the stock dropped sharply. If it moves now with new data, it will probably revert only to previous levels, but given that phase 2 data didn't excite investors, I wouldn't bet strongly here. And that's all for today. I hope this video gave you ideas and helps you think about the strategies for the end of 2025 and Q1 2026, and all these companies help us learn in future in retrospective how we thought, what clues we had, and what actually happened. This helps us make better decisions in the future. Bye, see you next time.